Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Sasonan, this is the Daily Grind, and we are hyped for Armored Core 6. By the time this video is posted and available for you for viewing, the Steam PC preload is already live. And the launch for PC players is around 5 p.m. Central in the United States and, well, American continent. So adjust your clocks. 5 p.m. Central tomorrow for PC. And the guys who are playing on console, well, they already can. The preload for PlayStation 5 was available since yesterday or the day before that. And for Xbox, it has been available for almost a week. So preload now because everybody gets to play tomorrow, at least on the American continent, 5 p.m. Central. For PC and around 10 p.m. Central for consoles. So everybody gets to play tomorrow. At launch, we're going to be streaming in this channel at launch with some luck. My internet goes out or something like that. Okay. I don't have access to the game. I don't have a gaming console. I prefer to play on PC most of the time. And I'm going to be streaming from the PC version of this game. I just want to showcase a video that was posted a couple of hours ago on GameSpot, and that's an S rank. This is the first video of an S rank on a mission, and it includes a boss. And we're going to be going back and forth on the actions taken, trying to explain. This is obviously a reviewer that has already advanced a bit in the game, earned credits, both pieces, tailored his armor core, that's the name of the robot by the way, to his liking, and his goal was to get an S rank in a mission. Complete S rank. And this was one of the first videos I saw today, and it convinced me that this is going to be the greatest Armored Core game to date, because it has, like I mentioned in a previous video, it has all the good stuff from the previous titles while also minimizing the shortcomings of the series in general. So this is very fast paced. It doesn't reaches the speed of Armored Core 4 Answer, for example, but has more freedom than Armored Core 5. It also has a very good energy management rhythm. Like it's not just a matter of slapping the biggest generator you can find on the store and the highest speed booster that you can find on the store, and then you work from there, depending on if you want a light, a middle, or a heavyweight robot. Airtime is really big. You can stay in the air even if you're not using quads, a tetrapod, even if you're not using that to hover. Airtime is very good. It's about on the starting pieces is around 3 to 4 seconds, and once you manage to customize your robot, I've seen another couple of videos with middle and even some heavyweights that can stay up in the air for around 6 to 7 seconds. So that's a lot. But the energy management, the way From Software made it so you don't have this ridiculous situation of Armored Core 4 Answer where the robots can be pretty much forever in the air, is that you can't regenerate energy while you are boosting in the air, even using the the stabilizers, you cannot regenerate energy while you are in there. You have to let go completely of all your directional inputs, and you have to stop firing. And then you get a very slow energy regeneration. But once you touch the floor again, then pretty much the bar fills itself in less than 1 second. It's very fast. So that forces you to make a choice of, I'm going to take care, am I going to go real high, or I'm going to save energy to maneuver using quick boosting or some normal boosting. And instead of flying for 5 seconds, I will be able to dodge for 3 seconds in the air, but you have to return to the ground again. And we are going to be seeing a lot of that in this video. We're going to be seeing a lot of air maneuvers. We're going to see a lot of dodging. And I'm going to kind of spoil something for you here. The guy who recorded the original footage almost didn't get touched. So perhaps with some dedication, we will be able to see for the first time 0 damage runs on Armor Core. But it's not free, it's not something that the system gives you. It's learning the stage from memory and playing almost perfectly. And this is why I decided to analyze this run, because it's pretty much a perfect run on a stage, and it's also very quick. The original video is just 6 minutes long, and I'm going to stop it before we reach the briefing for the ending, just to keep the spoilers to a minimum, because yeah, there are spoilers in this game. The storyline, there are a couple of guys, Limpy, I think, or Slumpy, I think that's the name of the channel, started uploading raw footage, and we're going to see that, because if you have a physical copy, or if you manage to find a physical copy for consoles, you can start playing today. So let's dive into this. For starters, I shortened the start of the video by about 30 seconds, because that's just straight boosting to get to the fighting part. But it's almost uninterrupted. So that's like 2 assault boosts in a row. And that's a lot of ground that gets covered. So let's look into this. Like, look at that air time. That was like 3-4 seconds. And this is on an Xbox Series X. So now the guy is using missiles and dodging before the red markers on the screen is not him taking damage. That's just his fire control system telling him where he is getting fired from. So he just preemptively boosts to get out of the way. This is one of the very few instances where he takes damage. And as you can see, dodging is done before you get attacked. Like, once you get a marker that there is something fired at you, you have to move out of the way. This is something that you have to master if you want to get good at this game, especially if you're going to focus yourself on PvP. You have to remain mobile at pretty much all times. You shouldn't keep a constant acceleration in any direction. You have to be constantly shifting from left to right, boosting forward or boosting backwards, just so you can throw off the targeting system of the enemies. Now, this build wasn't really made for heavy armor, so he's having a bit just a small bit of problems. This particular muscle tracer, and then he gets company, so he got damaged bit, just very little. But he's going fast. He doesn't stop moving. He's constantly looking around, letting his fire control system take care of the situation and boosting whenever possible. As you can see, once you stop boosting and you let go of the controller, the energy refills at a very fast rate. This is probably one of the middle range generators, and that's definitely not the starting booster that you get. Even so, I have already seen this mission being played with the standard armored core you get when you start the game, and pretty much all you have to do is buy either the energy shield, or you have to buy a second missile launcher. Like the default missile launcher, you can buy another copy so you can install on the back, because explosives give a lot of stagger, and you're going to need that to S rank missions. You're going to have to stagger the bosses in each mission. I can also kind of spoil, but this is not really spoiler. That was one of my hypotheses before the game was made available for reviewing and people started uploading things. This is straight from Armor Core Silent Light, I believe, where you could call for refills and to repair your mech to maximum AP. So there's a bit of story. It's not really important, so I'm going to let that roll. But the game also has very short missions where, in the traditional way that Armor Core has ever worked, you only have to destroy the objectives. And if you want to destroy some of the enemies, that's a bonus pay, but it's not really required. So I guess the problem most people are having right now is that they are new to the series and they don't realize how important it is to remain mobile at all times. Like, don't try to take on bosses exclusively from the front. The worst thing you can do is stay immobile and trying to out DPS the bosses, because balance in this game is made around the stagger bar. So even if you have bazooka rounds or rocket launchers or grenade launchers, it's not enough with a single projectile to stagger an enemy. And of course, bosses also have a very stability or attitude control system, so you cannot stagger them with just a couple of hits. That's why you want a couple of missile launchers in the beginning, because missiles tend not to miss against bosses because they are very big. And that was 0 damage from the boss. Very obviously, this guy decided, I'm going to showcase this particular scene and I'm going to try to go for an S rank as fast as possible. So you're going to find this particular boss fight and the entire mission being uploaded to YouTube today or starting tomorrow. And for the streamers that are new to the franchise and are going to try to do this, I have seen that the standard finishing time is about 15 minutes for this mission. So this guy found a way. It's not the only way to do this. By the way, you could do that in a heavy core, like tank legs or heavy bipedal, but you have to shift the stuff around. Like maybe don't go with a double rifle, maybe go with double machine guns, or maybe double bazooka, and then you use something else. So don't try to melee the bosses. Most of the bosses that I have seen that have been already uploaded, the problem is that people try to look cool while killing the bosses, and they try to finish them off with a sword swipe, and then the boss switches around and they are unable to do that. So this guy basically uh, finished the whole mission with the boss in half the time that the average playing player is doing it, or the new player is doing that. So there's a metric for you, especially for new players. Don't feel bad if you're taking, because I have seen this thrown around that a couple of streamers that were invited to the showcase said, oh no, the whole chapter one took me over 4 hours to finish. I don't think that's entirely true, because once you take into account loading times and the times you're going to be spending watching the cinematics and listening to the briefings and spending time moving things around in the build of your mech, I really think that we're going to be seeing, not next week, but the starting on the weekend, we are going to start seeing runs for the entirety of chapter one under 45 minutes. Once you take all the fluff away, the story, the movies, the dialogues, you can skip them. We're going to see way shorter times. Like 4 hours for me, in my opinion at least, is that they are getting familiar with the game. Because to be quite frank, the showcase we saw on Friday last week, that wasn't even mid-level play. I would consider the guy who recorded the original footage for this video to be somewhere above mid-range in skill and practice with this particular franchise, just from the movement alone. And even if he didn't play Armored Core before, he really practiced this run and decided that what he needed was even more speed instead of going for defense and firepower. And that's what tells me that this is a very good. That, and watching many other videos today, with different builds on top of that, like people that went for heavy bipedals, people that went for double bazooka, heavy missiles, heavy vertical missiles, and people that went for tanks and stuff like that. And everybody was able to finish the missions, and not everybody got S rank, of course. Different times, different skill levels. So that tells me that this is pure and unadulterated Armored Core. People are going to go for builds they feel comfortable playing, even if they are not optimal, quote unquote. But they are going to be having fun, and they're going to, especially, they're going to find this feeling of accomplishment. From what I have seen, the game is not really hard. It's just that there are a lot of people that have only known From Software, from Dark Souls onwards, and they are just too used to having a I messed up button that they press and they can then evade attacks. And it doesn't work that way in Armored Core. But they're going to get used to this and give the game a chance. Reviews, for the most part, have been very positive, especially from the professional critics. Uh, but they just didn't have the balls to slap a 75 or a 78, 7.8 on Armored Core 6 because now it's a game by From Software. So I don't really think, and I didn't believe before the reviews started pouring out, and we discussed that in Reddit, and people kind of hated the hot take. It's not going to be badly reviewed. The the professional critics don't have the balls to slap a 7 something on a game from a company that got 2 games of the year in a row. You just simply can't. It's bad PR for them. And the Dark Souls fans and the Elden Ring fans were going to go for the throat if anybody on the professional circle, the game journalists, if anybody dared to do that, they were going to be torn to pieces, to be quite honest. I don't think this is a game that is 90 or even 100. I don't believe in a 10/10 game by a journalist that is comparing this game to Elden Ring. They are completely different genres. They are by the same developer, but they have completely different design philosophies. So that's a mistake on the part of the reviewer. Um, I I could have lived with a 70. I'm not going to dare to slap a number because I haven't personally played the game. But from what I have been watching today, I can tell that this is the best Armored Core game to date, and that's the best of 16 games. And if I will have to slap a number on this thing, it will be a solid 80. 80 to 85. And I think that anybody who reviews the game on 80 or 78 to 85, that's a honest and that's a fair review. It's not a perfect game, doesn't have the best graphics around. The sound improved a lot from previous entries. From what I have been able to piece together from many different videos on chapter 1 and chapter 2, the story is much better presented than in previous titles of the series. But this is still a From Software game, and there is a lot that is left to you as the player to interpret, to infer from. You will have to guess and piece together lines of dialogue that are other completely out of context and without the background. So the writing quality by From Software has improved a lot, but their narrative and their telling of the story, it's still pretty much the same. However, it has way more dialogue and way more cinematics than, for example, Elden Ring. So if you felt that Elden Ring didn't give you a lot of the story to try to discern the storyline from that, well, this is better. And I will consider Elden Ring to be a solid 85 too. And that's why I kind of hate the slapping numbers on games, because you cannot directly compare something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls or Bloodborne to Armored Core. It's not that Armored Core is special, it's just that it's the themes that the franchise has built over the years, and the way your character is portrayed over 15 games. It's never the same character, by the way, but it it's always the same setting with a twist, but the twist is always dark, and the twist is always very non-heroic. Like, you have never ever played a heroic character in Armored Core. And there are moral choices, but they are not between good and evil. It's something completely different that deserves its own video to talk about that. So let's finish this so you can see the ending screen. And there's the prices. Rank S. The pay in this game is very, very big, but also the pieces are very, very big. Like, these almost 400,000 credits that were earned during this run is barely enough to buy a new core, which tends to be the highest priced part in the series. You could maybe buy several different weapons to try different loadouts with just this mission. And you can replay the missions. Like, for example, if you think you're not going to get ranked for the very first mission, but if you feel like you have mastered that, you can farm the missions and then start buying parts and then switch things around. So if you have physical copy and you can play today, you can start by doing that. You can farm the first couple of missions, just repeat them, try to do well in them. I seem to recall that the very first mission is 170,000 as a prize. So you have to finish that with low damage and try not to spend too much ammunition. And just by repeating the first mission a couple of times, like 3 or 4 times, then you can start buying stuff for your mech. But you could go for the second mission that pays a whole lot better. I think it's $250,000 in total if you finish everything. So if you can manage to keep your expenses under 50,000, that's 200 grand every time you finish the second mission. And also the game is non-linear. Like, there's a piece of map and you can choose any of the missions in order, and when you finish those, you get to the boss. So there is that. So that's going to allow a lot of people to play the game the way they want, and that's also a plus in my opinion. So yeah, this is pretty much the best Armored Core game to date, and it's the best of the whole series. I will dare say it's going to dethrone Last Raven and even for answer for the title of best game in the series. And Last Raven is going to still get to be best game of the PlayStation 2 era. Pretty much that's a consensus in the fandom. And for answer is going to be the best PlayStation 3 game of that series in particular. Again, no debate there. And we are always going to be fighting about which one was better, Armored Core 1 or Master of Arena. That's a riddle for the ages. But for the series in general, I dare say that this is going to be the best armor core of them all. So if you feel like giving it a try, most people are going to be streaming tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central. If you are on the fence, so you can not pre-order or not pre-buy or pre-load on a digital storefront, and you can always go buy physical copies on Friday and start playing. We don't know if it's going to be patched on the 25th, so there's that. Subscribe, leave a like to the channel, and see you on Rubicon 3 tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central. See you around. See you next time.